Dragon Ballers, real quick before we get into today's video, just want to share something with you guys that I am very excited about. PPG is going to be hosting the Pro Support TCG weekend in Dallas, Texas, the weekend of November 6th. It's going to be a giant TCG convention weekend hosting all your favorite games, obviously Dragon Ball Super, Digimon, Pokemon, Magic the Gathering, and more. Tournaments for all those. I'm actually going to be there commentating the Dragon Ball Super side of things, the main event on Saturday, the side events on Sunday. I absolutely cannot wait. And if you guys missed out on Gen Con or heard me talk about how much fun that was, you're 110% going to want to be at the Pro Support TCG weekend. The other great thing too is it's just 2 weeks before Nationals, the biggest Dragon Ball Super tournament of the year, so you can get some invaluable practice there. But besides that, it's a convention. It's going to be so much fun, especially for those of you guys like me that just absolutely love trading card games. Definitely check it out. The link to sign up will be in the description. I really hope to see you guys there. Now let's get into the video. Yo, Dragon Ballers, welcome back to another video. Today we will be covering the coveted Dragon Ball Super Set 15 Saiyan Showdown ban list. We knew we were getting it today, but man, this was a interesting morning, I'll just say that. So I've had about 20-30 minutes to sit down with my thoughts. I've seen the ban list. I've kind of digested my thoughts. I'm going to share that with you guys, but first we're going to read through what Bandai has to say about their decisions, so we'll get into it. If you're new here though, make sure to subscribe, hit that bell so you never miss a video. And now that we know what we're looking at going into Nationals, and if you guys want to help support the channel as well, make sure to check out the Patreon down in the description, because again, now that we know the format going into Nats, I'm going to be posting more content in regards to Nationals format. So if you want to stay up to date, or if you want to inquire about some coaching, whether it's for Nationals or for the start of next season, check out Patreon down in the description. Anyways, let's get started reading what Bandai has to say. So, UWO 6 additions to the banned limited errata card list. Greeting Dragon Ball Super card game fans. Thank you for your continued support of the Dragon Ball Super card game. As always, we continue to constantly monitor and evaluate the state of the game to ensure a healthy and competitive gameplay experience. Through continued testing, observing tournament results, and community feedback, we have concluded that additional adjustments are necessary to facilitate what we believe will lead to a fresher, more diverse metagame and an even better version of Dragon Ball Super card game. So, I mean, this paragraph of text here, it sounds really nice, but that last sentence there, where it's going to lead to a more diverse metagame, I don't necessarily know, because they kind of only nuked one color. But I guess we'll see as we go further. So, for the release of Saiyan Showdown, we're adding 1 card to the banned card list and 7 to the errata list effective November 1st, 2021. Don't get so caught up in that 7 number, because they did announce the other day they had to errata a lot of the cards in set 15. I think 5 of them in set 15 that pertain to the green Goku Kaioken archetype. So that's really where that 7 number comes from. It's not like 7 cards outside of that. So the first ban, we have Violent Rush Bojack. This was definitely super expected. I have pretty much no problem with this, but let's go through the reasoning first. So the presence of this card creates additional energy that any blue-yellow deck can utilize for strong defensive plays at minimal cost. We predict this card to become over-centralizing in upcoming and future formats, so we've decided to ban it and encourage exploration of new strategies. So again, Violent Rush Bojack ban, I have pretty much no issue with. This was very expected. If I had one thing I could just offer to this, would be to have just errated it to Bojack leader only, because I've said it in a previous video, but when you take a really powerful card like Violent Rush Bojack, yes, the card is absolutely insane. Definitely has answers though, and has more answers going into set 15, but still, you take a card that's that powerful and you pair it with a leader, like a leader lock type of situation where that whole archetype has proven that it's way less powerful than the other stuff. You give that archetype a huge boost while still taking power away from another really strong archetype. So I think that would have been a good way to go about it without having to ban the card, but still, ban is fine. I'm really not upset about this. This is okay. But the issue here is they hit blue-yellow in a really big way. Even though I think blue-yellow is still playable with only Bojack nerfed and no other changes, blue-yellow is still really good. But they hit Bojack and then also hit Zamasu the Eliminator. So I was kind of hoping and thinking, like, if you're going to hit them in one big way, let them maintain that other really strong card and use it as part of their identity. So let's read what they did to Zamasu the Eliminator. So post or out of text, counterplay. Play this card. If the battle card being played is energy cost of 4 or less, return it to the owner's hand. So this is only hitting battle cards now. It does not hit unisons anymore. That is super important. So reason, this card's unique ability to stop unisons from being played has proven more disruptive than originally intended and limits viable strategies. We decided to errata this card to only affect battle cards in order to bolster the amount of viable competitive decks and player enjoyment. So I see this on one hand because playing against Icarus was really annoying when you couldn't stick your turn 2, turn 3, or turn 4 unison on curve. That was very, very annoying, and Icarus was the most popular deck for most of the tournaments we saw of this previous format. So I get it, but again, I come back to the argument of if you're going to hit them in one really huge way, pretty much taking away Bojack, I would say let Zamasu the Eliminator stand as it was, just so that Blue Yellow can keep part of that identity where, okay, if you play against any other deck in the game, sure, Unison can come down on curve and it's a really uninteractable mechanic. That's the thing about Unisons. They're really hard to interact with, especially depending on like their battle power and how many markers they come in or gain per turn. So leave Blue Yellow with this identity of having the ability to interrupt Unisons. That would have been really cool. Plus, taking away Bojack, I promise you that Blue Yellow is going to see a lot less play. I still think it's playable. I still think it's really good. Even with Bojack being banned and Zamasu the Eliminator being errata, I think it's very, very good. One thing about Zamasu the Eliminator, though, I think it's still a very playable, very good card. I do imagine you'll want to play 4 copies in any Blue-Yellow deck. But now, if you're more of like a budget player, well, even then, Zamasu, I'm sure the price is going to fall down pretty heavily. But yeah, you don't necessarily need 4 Zamasu. You can replace this with a card like Beer's Fickle God, for example. But Zamasu is still good because stopping the play of a 4 or less battle card is still solid. Like, it still means your opponent has to play a deflect battle card against you. Otherwise, you can interrupt that. And the tapping effect's still really good against your opponent's boss monsters. And the card's a free Blue Yellow energy. So the card is still good, for sure. The card's still really solid, but it's obviously much less powerful. And this is one more thing I want to mention about like Bandai's design philosophy. Like, some people think they designed Zamasu the Eliminator by mistake, in the sense that they left off battle cards, so that's why it interacts with Unisons. I don't think it was by mistake. I think they designed Zamasu the Eliminator with that intention of dealing with Unisons. But I think if Bandai wanted this, ability to deal with Unisons, they should have kept it in the game, because, they could eventually just print Unisons with Deflect, and that would have been fine. Like, I think about the King Vegeta Unison in set 15, where it's got this really convoluted, like, counterattack effect where you take a marker off a Unison, you can counterattack and play it, and then it reduces the cost by 1 if you have a grade 8. Like, all that convoluted stuff, they could have not just done any of that stuff and let it have been a Unison with Deflect. So 1, it beats Zamasu the Eliminator as far as Unisons go, and 2, it's +1 automatically answers Bojack. Like, if they didn't need to keep Bojack around, but if they did keep Bojack around and keep Zamasu unerrated, that Unison with Deflect would have like single-handedly made green really, really strong, just because of how good Icarus is and how solid of a Unison this card would be against it. But that's just like a theoretical kind of situation. But yeah, I do wish that if they really wanted that philosophy of being able to counterplay Unisons, they would have just kept with it. A lot of people very much complained about this card, and I do get it, but if it's only against one color combination, and that color combination is probably going to start seeing a lot less play because one of their key cards was hit, I think it's a fine element to have in the format. But anyways, I do want to move on to the next card. So we do have Galactic Buster. This card's also receiving an errata. So activate battle. If your later card's a Bojack Brigade card, you choose 1 mono blue battle card with a combo cost of 1 your energy, draw a card, then use the chosen card in a combo. If it's your opponent's turn, you use a card in a combo with this skill. Place this card in your energy from your drop. At the end of the battle, switch one of your energy to rest mode. You can't activate battle skills on copies of this card for the turn. Reason: this card can be used with any blue leader to create an energy economy surpassing expected use. Designed as a defensive tool for blue decks, changes to the ban limited errata list for UW5 Cross Spirits and Special Anniversary Box 2021 have popularized this card outside of Bojack Brigade decks more than originally intended. We decided to errata this card to Bojack Brigade leader only to encourage more creative strategies for blue leaders. So I think this is fine. I don't hate this, although I am much more of a fan of good card.deck, as a lot of you guys probably know. But I think it's still okay, because yeah, this was just like the engine you play in blue decks, like SS4 Vegeta, Soul Striker, probably even Kaba coming up. Like, you just play this engine because it's so good. Like, that's just the matter of the fact. And blue did have a really insane excess amount of energy because of all this, so I'm more or less okay with this. I think blue takes a pretty heavy hit because of it, though. Like, your most generic, most powerful engine was hit, so that's pretty relevant in my opinion. But on the same side, one of the cards I'm really disappointed that didn't get touched was Android 17 Turning the Tide. We talked about this on the channel before. Like, boss monsters need to end games. Boss monsters need to be worth tapping for. But Turning the Tide is a really annoying situation like Gogeta Xeno, and I guess you try to balance it by also taking away your own hand. But when you're playing Turning the Tide, you're either ramping into it, so SS4 Vegeta still seems like a fine and really annoying deck, to be honest, especially for that game 1 advantage of them having Tide and you not having Jiren Survival of the Fittest. But besides that, you're either ramping into it or establishing a pretty crazy board and then playing it and then killing your opponent on that same exact turn. So yeah, I mean, SS4 Vegeta still seems really playable with this hit, even though they did play the Galactic Buster engine, but now they can just play like floodgates, like Gohan Baby's Minion, Vegeta Ready to Rumble, and just go into Tide as early as possible. That's honestly pretty annoying. But the other strategy that they didn't hit on this list, which is going to make life pretty difficult for SS4 Vegeta, is Cell Surge. Now, Cell Surge, it's understandable they didn't hit it because it doesn't quite have the results to say, like, oh, this is a really overbearing deck. And I'm still trying to figure out why that was, because the deck always seemed more powerful than tournament results seem to let on. But maybe that's just a bias thing. It very well possibly could be, I'll admit that. But I know a lot of people are very, very heavily expecting Cell Surge to do very well going into Nationals, and that deck did not receive a single hit. A lot of people are calling for a rebrand to mono green leader only type of hit, which I think would have been really good because it would have encouraged you to play a lot of these mono green strategies, and it would have steered you away from Cell Surge. But it is fair that Cell Surge did not have the results to back up that type of hit. So I get it. I'm a little scared of it, but it is what it is. So this is the format going into Nationals. Bojack banned, Zamasu errated. Zamasu still good, but errated. And Bojack Brigade basically no longer playable in mono blue decks. What decks seem good? What decks seem bad? Well, I'm going to do a video, of course, like I always do, winners and losers of the set 15 ban list. That'll be out tomorrow and Monday, so make sure to stay tuned for that. Of course, guys, I want to know what you guys think about this ban list in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.